Well, ang pag-uusapan natin is about powers and the properties of exponents. So, simulan natin sa tanong na, when it comes to mathematics, what do we mean by power? Now, before we go to that, let me ask you something about multiplication. So, we learned sa ating earlier mathematics that 2 times 3 is equal to 6. So, on this particular example, what we mean by 2 times 3 is that 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to 6. So, we mean that 2 is added 3 times. So, anong napansin nyo dito, guys? Well, we learned from this that multiplication is actually repeated addition. So, when you are adding a number repeatedly, ini-express natin siya by multiplication. Now, how about if we have a repeated multiplication like this one? So, when you multiply to 3 times, you will have an answer of 8. Well, that is what we call power. And when we say power, we mean repeated multiplication. And if in multiplication you write it like this, wherein you mean 2 is added 3 times, in power, we write it this way. So, yung typical na representation ng power is yung meron kang variable or a number, and then may makikita kang maliit na number or variable na nasa upper right hand niya. So, i-identify natin yung mga parts ng ating power. Itong nakikita nating mas malaking number dito, yan ang tinatawag nating base. And the base is the one that gets multiplied repeatedly. And ito namang maliit na number or variable na makikita natin sa upper right hand niya, ang tinatawag nating exponent or index. Ang exponent or index naman is the one that tells us how many times the base has to be multiplied. And this as a whole is what we call power. So, what do we mean by power? Power is an expression that represents repeated multiplication of the same factor. So, halimbawa guys, nakakita tayo ng 3 and then merong index or exponent na 2. What we mean here is 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. And for example, nakakita ka naman ng 2 na may exponent na 5. What we mean here is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 32. And guys, when it goes to powers and exponents, meron tayong mga special names na dapat matandaan. For example, if you have a variable or a number with an exponent of 2, then you call it the square of that particular number or a variable. Let's say you have x with an exponent of 2. Then you call it x squared. Or if you have a number, let's say 3 with an exponent of 2, you call it 3 squared. Well, it's easy to remember, no? Just think about square. Now, actually, let's say in a square, you have divided it into 4. If you count the number of square on the left side, you will have here 1, 2, and you have here 1, 2. If you actually multiply the number of square on the left and on the right, you will reach to 2 squared number. That is why it is called 2 squared. This is equal to 4. So 2 squared, as we learned, is 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. That is why it's called squared actually. And gayon din naman, if you have a number or a variable raised to an exponent of 3, you call it a cube. Let's say x with an exponent of 3, you call it x cubed. And if you have 2 with an exponent of 3, you call it 2 cubed. And the principle is the same, no? If you have a cube, okay, if you multiply this side to this side and to this side, you will actually arrive to the cube of the number. Let's say you have the number x here, and x. That is equal to x cubed. Now, other numbers greater than 3 will be called according to the order numbers. For example, you have x with an exponent of 4. This is called x to the 4th. Or y with an exponent of 8 is called y to the 8th. Well, in many cases, guys, makaka-encounter ka na ginagamit yung salitang power dito, which is, for example, we have x to the 5th. Then, makakarinig ka minsan na tinatawag tong x to the 5th power. Well, technically, sa natutunan natin dito, it is not the correct way, no? Pero, this is accepted in many textbooks and references. Kaya, may encounter nyo na ginagamit din nila to. Now, let us talk about properties of exponents. So, ito yung mga properties of exponents na dapat makabisado nyo or mamaster ninyo in order to solve yung mga succeeding problems natin na may encounter sa algebra. So, very important to na mamaster natin. So, iisa-isahin natin itong mga properties na to. Okay, so simulan natin sa property na to. So, we have here x with an exponent of 0 is equal to 1. So, ang ibig sabihin nito is any variable or any number na may exponent na 0 will be equal to 1. Provided na itong base mo is not equal to 0. And there is an interesting reason about this, pero siguro ipapakita natin yan in a different video, no? So, let us give an example. Let's say you have 5 with an exponent of 0. This is equal to 1. Similarly, if you have y is with an exponent of 0 is equal to 1. If you have z with an exponent of 0 is equal to 1, and so on, as long as your base is not equal to 0. Now, let's go to the next property. Now, we have here base x with an exponent of m multiplied to the base x with an exponent of n is equal to base x with an exponent of m plus n. So, nakikita nyo guys, pinag-add lang natin yung exponents na to, no? Ito yung naging resulta natin. Pero one thing that you need to remember, pwede mo lang gawin yan basta pareho yung base mo. Okay? Basta pareho yung base mo, pwede mong i-add yung mga exponent nila. When you are multiplying a term with the same base, pwede mong i-add yung kanilang exponents. So, magbigay tayo ng example. Itong unang example natin, we have 2 squared times 2 cubed. This is equal to, so pareho yung base natin, no, 2. So, this is equal to 2. I-add natin yung exponent niya, 2 plus 3 is equal to 2 to the 5th, which is equal to 32. Then, next example, we have x cubed times x to the 4th. So, pareho yung base ng power natin, no? Marehong x. So, we have x 3 plus 4, which is equal to x to the 7th. Then, third example, we have n squared times n to the 5th. So, pareho uli ang ating base. So, we will have here n 2 plus 5, which is equal to n to the 7th. Fourth example, we have x to the 1/2 times x to the 1/3. So, pareho yung ating base. So, we will have here x 1/2 plus 1/3. So, this will be equal to x 3 plus 2 over 6, which is equal to x to the 5 over 6. And then, ang next problem, we have x squared times x times y cubed. So, katulad nung sinabi ko kanina, pwede lang natin gawin tong property na to kapag pareho yung base. So, hindi natin siya pwedeng gamitin dito sa y. So, what we'll have here is x 2 plus 1 kasi lagi kang merong exponent ng 1 kapag nakakita ka ng variable or a number na existing alone. So, for example, nakakita ka ng x, immediately may exponent yan na 1. If you saw a number 3, automatic, meron niyang exponent na 1. Kapag nakakita ka ng x, y, automatically, meron niyang exponent na 1 sa x at merong exponent na 1 sa y. So, we have to remember this, guys. This is very important, no? So, ibabox ko siya ngayon. Okay, so gamitin na natin yan ngayon. So, pinag-add natin yung exponent nitong x natin, and yung y will remain the same. So, we'll have here x, 2 plus 1 is 3, and y cubed. So, that's our answer. Now, let's go to the next property. Bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating discussion, we would like to ask for your support to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please click on the notification bell para lagi kayong updated sa mga ipopost naming mga video. We also like to invite you to register sa aming website, www.enginerds.org. Our website is an online community for Filipino engineers, engineering students, and STEM students. We have here x with an exponent of m over x with an exponent of n is equal to x with an exponent of m minus n. So, pinag-subtract lang natin yung kanilang exponents, no? Well, as you can see, if you multiply yung merong parehong base, i-add mo lang yung kanilang exponent, no? Now, if you divide yung merong parehong base, you will just have to subtract yung kanilang exponent, no? So, yun lang. Kapag ka multiplication, i-add mo yung exponent. But if it is a division, you will subtract the exponent. So, what will happen? Let's say, on our first example, we have y to the 5th over y squared. So, pareho yung base. Importante yan. Dapat laging pareho yung base. This will be equal to y 5 minus 2, which is equal to y cubed. Okay? Second problem, we have here 5 to the 7th over 5 to the 5th. So, pareho yung base natin na 5. We will have here 5. 7 minus 5 is equal to 5 squared, which is equal to 25 because 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Now, let's go to the next problem. We have here x to the 8th over x cubed y squared. So, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, guys, pwede lang natin gamitin to basta pareho yung ating base. So, hindi natin pwedeng isali tong y, no? So, we have here x 8 minus 3, and kung nasan yung y natin, will remain on that location. So, nasa denominator siya, it will remain on the denominator y squared. So, we'll have here x 8 minus 3 is equal to 5 over y squared. So, yan ang sagot natin. And then, ang ating last problem, we have here x to the 3 minus y over x squared. So, dito guys, ang exponent niya is buo to. 3 minus y, no? So, pareho yung base niya. So, mangyayari, isusubtract natin yan. So, we have x, 3 minus y minus 2. Okay, so this is equal to x, 3 minus y minus 2. So, this is equal to x, 3 minus 2 is equal to positive 1. So, we have 1 minus y. So, that's our answer for this. And now, let's go to the next property. Now, ito naman guys, makikita ninyo, nasa loob ng parenthesis itong ating power, no? And then, lahat ng yan is being raised to another exponent, which is n. And what will happen if you have this case, you will multiply yung kanyang exponent dito sa nasa labas na exponent, no? So, common problem to guys, or common mistake ng mga estudyante is minsan nako-confuse sila dito kapag meron tayong problem na let's say x to the m times x to the n, di ba? Yung unang property natin, dapat dito is x m plus n. Pero nako-confuse sila dyan guys, minsan ang ginagawa nila, x to the m times x to the n, minumultiply nila yung exponent, which is wrong. Kasi pwede lang yang gawin on this particular case. Okay? So, simulan na natin by answering some problems. So, ang unang problem natin dito, we have 2 squared raised to the exponent 3. So, this will be equal to 2. And then, i-multiply natin yung kanyang exponent sa exponent na nasa labas. 2 times 3, this is equal to 2 to the 6th, which is equal to 64. So, that's our answer. Number 2, we have x cubed raised to the 4th, which is equal to x 3 times 4, which is equal to x to the 12. And ang ating third problem, we have y cubed raised to the 1 plus x. Okay, so buo to guys pagka may ganyan kang given. So, this is equal to y. Imumultiply mo ngayon kanyang exponent. So, we have 3 times 1 plus x. So, distributive property to. So, we will have here y raised to the 3 plus 3x. Okay, let's go now to the next property. Okay, so, pareho lang yan ito guys. Kaya lang ngayon, meron kang dalawang variable or number dito sa loob ng parenthesis, no? So, mangyayari lang, i-distribute mo to sa lahat ng nasa loob ng ating parenthesis. So, here we have xy. So, meron siyang exponent na 1, di ba? Merong exponent na 1 yung x, and meron exponent na 1 yung y. So, i-multiply mo siya sa mga exponent niya. For example, you have here m times to the exponent 1 ng x, and m times the exponent of 1 ng y. Okay, so you have now here x to the m times y to the m. So, mag-solve tayo ng problem here. Number 1, we have 2x cubed. Okay, so, katulad ng sabi ko, meron tong exponent na 1. So, we have 2, then 1 times 3 is equal to 3. And then x, 1 times 3 is equal to 3. Okay, so, 2 cubed is equal to 8. Then, x cubed. Yan ang ating sagot. And then, number 2. xy squared. This is equal to, so may exponent tayong 1 dito. This will be equal to x squared, y squared. And then, third one, we have 3xyz squared. So, lahat yan merong exponent na 1. So, i-distribute natin to sa lahat ng nasa loob ng ating parenthesis, no? So, i-multiply natin tong ating exponent sa lahat ng exponent ng nasa loob ng ating parenthesis. So, we'll have here 3 squared, x squared, y squared, z squared. So, this is equal to 9 x squared, y squared, z squared. Okay? So, I will give you additional example, no? So, let's say you have 2x cubed raised to the exponent of 2. So, alam natin, may exponent 2 na 1, no? So, ang sabi ko, i-distribute natin siya by multiplying yung exponent na nasa labas sa lahat ng exponent na nasa loob. So, what we'll have here is 2. So, multiply natin yung exponent niya. 1 times 2 is equal to 2. Then, x, multiply natin yung exponent niya. So, 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So, we'll have here 2 squared is equal to 4. Then, x to the 6. Yan ang ating answer. And then, let's go to another property here. Ang nasa loob naman ng ating parenthesis is a fraction. So, we have x over y. Then, naka-raise siya sa exponent na m. So, ganun din, meron tong exponent na 1, bawat isang variable. So, imumultiply lang natin yung exponent na nasa labas sa mga exponent ng nasa loob. That is why we have here x to the m over y to the m, no? So, minultiply lang natin siya sa mga exponent nila. So, let us try to solve an example. Let's say you have x over 2 squared. So, may exponent to na 1, di ba? Then, ang sabi ko, imumultiply lang natin tong exponent na nasa labas sa lahat ng nasa loob. So, mumultiply natin siya dyan. So, what will happen is that we'll have here x 1 times 2 is equal to 2. Then, 2, 1 times 2, 2. So, we'll have here x squared over 2 squared is equal to 4. The next problem will have x over y to the 4th. So, it has an exponent 1 and 1. So, we'll have here x 1 times 4 is equal to 4. Y 1 times 4 is equal to 4. So, that's our answer. Third example natin, 2x over y squared squared. So, lahat to may exponent na 1, di ba? So, i-multiply lang natin. Yung denominator natin, yung y, may exponent na 2. So, this will be 2. Then, yung exponent na 1 times 2 is equal to 2x. Exponent ng 1 times 2 is equal to 2. Then, y, exponent ng 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So, this is equal to 2 squared is equal to 4x squared over y to the 4th. Okay? So, this is our final answer. Now, let's go to the next property. So, eto guys, ang ibig sabihin, kapag ang exponent mo is a negative number, then, it will just be moved sa ating denominator, no? So, similarly, kapag meron kang 1 over x to the negative m, this will be equal to x to the m, okay? So, yan ang ating property right here. So, let's say we have our first problem, which is x to the negative 3. So, this is equal to 1 over x cubed. Okay, so number 2, we have 4x to the negative 5. So, this is equal to, so guys, ang naka-raise lang ng negative 5, itong x lang, no? So, 4 will remain as is. Ang ating x to the negative 5, magiging x to the 5th sa ating denominator. So, third example, we have 2 squared, then negative 2. So, yung property natin, no, imumultiply natin siya sa exponent ng nasa loob ng ating parenthesis. So, we have 2, then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So, we'll have here 1 over 2 to the 4th, which is equal to 1 over 16. Okay? Then, ang ating last problem for this property, we have 3 over x to the negative 1. So, katulad nung sinabi ko kanina, no? Similar yan dito. So, we'll have here 3x to the positive 1. So, this is equal to 3x. Okay? So, let's go to the next property. Now, this one involves yung roots, no? So, kung hindi nyo pa to alam, mas maliliwanagan kayo once we go to the topic of roots. Okay? But for now, we will try to give you an example. So, as you can see, ang exponent natin dito is a fraction. Okay? Now, what will happen, yung numerator ng ating fraction will be the exponent ng nasa loob ng root. Okay? Then, yung root natin, yung index ng ating root will be the denominator ng ating exponent. Okay? So, let's have an example. We have here 2 with an exponent of 2/3. Okay? So, katulad ng sabi ko kanina, yung numerator nito will be the exponent ng ating base na nasa loob ng root. So, we'll have here the root 2 squared. And yung denominator niya, yan ang magiging index ng ating root. So, we'll have here the cube root. So, this is equal to the cube root of 4. Next example, we have here x to the 2/5. So, this will be equal to x. And exponent niya is 2. And ang root niya, ang index ng kanyang root is 5. Then number 3, we have 5. Then y, 3/5. So on this example, guys, yung y lang ang may exponent na 3/5, no? So we have 5 times yung exponent ng ating y is 3 and ang index ng kanyang root is 5. So we'll have here 5 with the 5th root of y cubed. So that's our answer for this problem. Well, that's it for now, guys, and thank you for watching. We are inviting you to register sa www.engineers.org. It is a community of Filipino engineers, engineering students, and STEM students. Thank you very much and have a nice day.